So have you ever stood in front of an ATM, watching it make those clunky mechanical whirring noises, and then nothing? It eats your cash, your receipt prints out completely blank, and that pit of your stomach panic just instantly sets in. Or maybe you've opened up your mobile banking app, just checking your balance, only to spot a terrifying, totally unauthorized charge that came out of nowhere. I mean, it's incredibly frustrating, right? When these weird financial glitches happen, you instantly feel like this tiny underdog going up against a massive, faceless institution.
Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We are setting a very clear goal right now. We're going to demystify the entire banking grievance process so that you can fight back and, more importantly, actually win. You absolutely do not have to just sit there and accept terrible customer service, ignored emails, or lost funds. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap. We're going to cover the bank dispute dilemma, your customer rights, the step-by-step escalation process, the essential documents you need, the ombudsman versus the court system, and finally, exactly how to win your case.
Starting off with Section 1, the bank dispute dilemma. To really ground this in reality, let's look at some everyday banking nightmares. We're talking ATM cash withdrawal disputes, unauthorized credit card transactions, and those lovely digital banking or online transfer problems that just seem to disappear into the ether. Now, on the flip side, what's the bank's typical initial response? Usually it's delayed refunds, rejections with zero justification, or they just flat out ignore your complaint. Look, if you've been through this, you are definitely not alone. These are incredibly common issues that mess with your finances, your mental peace, and honestly, your trust in the system.
But here is where things start looking up. Your ultimate secret weapon in this David versus Goliath fight is the Banking Ombudsman. Basically, it's an independent, structured grievance redressal mechanism. It provides a proper forum for customers to resolve disputes when a bank just isn't giving a satisfactory response. The Ombudsman is completely free, totally impartial, and it serves as the ultimate equalizer when your bank fails to treat you fairly.
Moving on to Section 2, Know Your Customer Rights. Now, what's really interesting here is that knowing these specific rights forms the protective armor you need before you enter any dispute. You're not begging for a favor. You have rights. First up, fair treatment and transparency. This means you get clear fee information without any discrimination. You have the right to know exactly what you're being charged for, no hidden surprises. Second, privacy and data security, which means strict protection from unauthorized access. And third, accurate account records. This means you have the absolute right to prompt correction of any discrepancies. Remember, these aren't just polite suggestions for the bank. These are your protected legal rights.
And I really want to strongly emphasize this critical takeaway right here. You have the right to timely resolution and compensation for bank errors. If a bank's negligence causes you actual financial loss or even just major inconvenience, you are legally entitled to compensation. The whole reason the ombudsman process exists is to assess those situations and enforce that relief.
All right, Section 3, the step-by-step process.
To navigate the battlefield of bank disputes, you need to know exactly where you stand on the escalation timeline. Point 1 is the incident, the moment the issue actually occurs. Point 2 is your initial bank contact. That's going to regular customer service or walking into your local branch. Point 3 is escalation, where you move up to a nodal or grievance officer within the bank itself. And finally, point 4 is external action, bringing in the banking ombudsman. You always need to know exactly where you are on this timeline.
Let's see how that timeline builds into 6 clear, actionable steps. Step 1, identify the issue and contact the bank. Step 2, submit a formal written complaint. Step 3, wait for the bank's investigation. Now let me pause right here. Actually, this is absolutely critical. Did you know the #1 reason ombudsman complaints are rejected is because people skip the internal bank process? You must never jump the line. If you do, your external complaint is almost certainly going to get tossed out. So, moving on. Step 4, file the ombudsman complaint if the bank fails to resolve it. Step 5 is the ombudsman review, and Step 6 is your final resolution. By following this precise order, you prove that you acted reasonably and gave the bank a fair chance to fix their mess first.
Which brings us to Section 4, essential documents and tracking.
Look, in the banking world, there is a golden rule. If it isn't documented, it literally didn't happen. To build an undeniable, bulletproof case, you need ammunition. Here's your checklist. You're going to need complaint letters, all bank responses, account statements, transaction records, loan agreements, and absolutely keep your screenshots and emails. Every single time an ATM fails or a charge looks even a little bit weird, take a screenshot. Save those emails. Having well-organized evidence is for sure the fastest way to speed up the reviewer's investigation.
But out of all that documentation, there is one number to rule them all: your complaint reference number. When you first contact the bank, do not hang up that phone or close that chat window without getting this number. It is the absolute key to actively tracking your case, proving your timeline, and showing the Ombudsman exactly when you first raised the flag. It's your golden ticket.
Section 5. Ombudsman versus the court.
You know, when people get mad at their bank, their common instinct is to immediately shout, "I'm going to sue." But let's rethink suing right out of the gate by weighing our options here. On the Ombudsman side, it brings simplicity, it's incredibly cost-effective, like it's generally free, it provides much faster settlements, and the investigators actually have specialized banking expertise. Now contrast that with court action. You're looking at costly legal expenses, it is highly time-consuming, the procedures are complex, and realistically, it's best reserved for massive, high-value claims. And this brilliantly illustrates why, for everyday service complaints, the Ombudsman process is vastly superior.
Actually, let me read you a quote from our source material that hits the nail right on the head. The Banking Ombudsman Complaint Process simplifies dispute resolution by reducing procedural complexities, enabling individuals to pursue justice without facing significant financial burdens. It completely validates the Ombudsman route as the smartest, most strategic move you can make as a customer.
Finally, Section 6. How to win your case. Okay, so we know the rules and we know the timeline. Now let's focus on actual strategy. Specifically, avoiding self-sabotage so you can secure a win. The crucial point here is dodging these incredibly common mistakes. Do not submit incomplete documentation. Don't delay filing the complaint. Act immediately. Avoid using vague language. Instead, use highly specific transaction dates and exact amounts. Never ignore the bank's communication if they ask for clarification. And, like we stressed earlier, whatever you do, do not skip the internal resolution process. Any single one of these pitfalls can cause a perfectly valid slam-dunk complaint to fail. Stay professional, meet your deadlines, and be incredibly specific.
All right, so we've covered the roadmap, we've outlined your rights, and we've walked through the exact steps you need to build a bulletproof case against institutional errors. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Will you just remain a passive victim of banking errors, or are you finally ready to use the Ombudsman to hold your bank accountable? The power is literally in your hands, your documentation, and your persistence. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope you're walking away feeling fully empowered to take charge of your financial rights.